Hi, Shawna Karish here with another Ask Shawna answer. Today's question comes from Jeffery, and his comment is, oh my gosh, where do I start? I have a 13-year-old mare that I've struggled with for 8 years. She is a sweet horse, but she is a stress case. She stresses about everything, literally. She is always bolted upon being released. I've tried everything that isn't mean or cruel, and she can hardly be made to not run through the mouth. I've been through many trainers, and she just doesn't get it. Love her to death, though. Oh, I know, Jeffrey. I mean, that's kind of the hardest thing is sometimes we see in our horses things we love, and then we see things that really challenge us, and we just wish we could get it over, get them over it. But, you totally can do this. With the positive reinforcement, you're going to put something in it that your horse values and that your horse likes and your horse finds desirable. I've worked with Arabs over and over, and I find them to be really quick studies. I think that because they're really fast, they're like, do I stay, do I run, do I stay, do I run, which is kind of their hot temperament, as we call it. But I think it also helps them to make decisions very quickly. And so I find them to be very quick and very responsive to the positive reinforcement. But through traditional training, oftentimes it works the other way, where it can make them just more nervous and more worried. I don't know what she's been through in her life, and we may never know, but before you got her and stuff. But we can, you can certainly help her out. By the use of positive reinforcement, I actually use it. It's training I took from SeaWorld. I use a clicker and I use a target, and these are going to be great tools for you. The clicker tells her yes, what you've just done is correct. Really important, because as you're, in saddle and you find her not running through the hand, you can kind of go, oh, or running through her mouth and pulling it, or whatever it might be that you're dealing with. You can say, that's what I like, and then you can reinforce her. So you can bookmark a specific moment time. That's really pretty simple training to do, and it's an important tool. But the other thing I'm going to suggest you do, I always suggest everybody do it, is do the target training. It kind of helps sets them up to learn how to learn, so you're giving them, so they start putting together, oh, I need to do something in order to earn my reinforcement. And so even if I'm just going right to under saddle, I still do the target training. That point two of the bridge conditioning and target training, it's actually, while you're teaching two principles, it's also very valuable because it really builds the trust, which leads to relaxation. So, and the target training in this situation, we're literally going to use the target to help her when she's being taken to the paddock and to release her. Again, this is something I've worked over and over with horses, very effective training tool. So by teaching her to touch her nose to a target as you take her to the paddock, and at first I would do the target training in the stall, just get her really good, really solid. I do it for about 4 days, about twice a day, 5 minutes each time, really brief, really quick. And they're easy sessions. She'll love them. And then I'd start just walking her around the barn a little bit and having her touch the target. And then what I'd start doing is then I'd be making the way to the paddock. And then as you get there, and she may kind of start to pull, just as she starts to get the slightest bit elevated, you think, uh-oh, starting to get a little revved up. Just say target. She comes back, touches, and I always hold it just a little bit low. As she comes down, touch target, reinforce her. You keep reinforcing her on the way to the paddock. Stop and do a little exercise, touch the target, touch the target. As you get to the paddock, I would have her touch the target. As she touches the target, I would then give her the rest of her food on the ground. You can take her for her breakfast if you want to, so it's really important to her. As you give her the food on the ground, she's eating it, you have a chance to take the halter off. Now, this is what we're doing to set her up for success. The target helps to set her up for success. The food helps to keep her focused. You're giving her something that you've established as she's had success with this behavior in her stall. You're going to find she loves the behavior, and as she's going out to the paddock, she's making a choice. What do I want to do? Do I want to bolt? Do I want to stay and do this? Do I want to bolt? Do I want to stay and do this? Right now, the scales are out of whack. She says, I'd rather bolt. But with using the positive reinforcement, with the target training, those scales are going to be rebalanced, and pretty soon she's going to be all about you and what you're doing. Also, the use of food, and when she accepts food, it actually creates more relaxation. So as she takes the food, she relaxes. It also, you can click and reinforce, telling her, I like when you're relaxed. So if you see her like this, even in the stall, and then you see her just soften a little bit, that's when I click and reinforce. So I see things start to soften, and you're going to get more and more relaxation out of her. Down the road, you're going to start to fade out the target. You're going to fade out the having to feed her all the food. She's just going to learn how to know how to go to the target, or to to the paddock. It's just going to become part of her repertoire, so she'll know what to do. So eventually she's just going to walk there. She's going to think, why not? She doesn't necessarily like to put all that energy into being all that nervous, but she doesn't know what else to do with it. So she's going to learn to walk there nice and calm. You give her a carrot or two, you release her, she's going to be good. So that's a place to start. So you could totally turn this around for her. I take it to under saddle. I think you're going to find, I know you're going to find, because it's a huge byproduct of the positive reinforcement, you're going to find her relaxation, her trust, and you trusting her, it's all going to start to merge. You're going to see her start to be better about everything. She's probably going to be better about grooming. She's going to be better about all kinds of things. So it's a great tool, and I'm glad you asked. I know you're going to have lots of success with her. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate, anybody, to go to askshawna.com. And Jeffrey, I'd love to hear about your progress. So until next time, you enjoy getting your horse on target. Bye-bye.